Alright everyone, since last night CNN Blackmail has been trending at or near the top on Twitter for a very, very good reason. What happened? WikiLeaks was involved in elucidating the facts of the case. You remember that funny image that Trump posted there on Twitter? He sort of tweeted it out to people of Trump taking down the other dude from like his WrestleMania days, and it had the CNN logo on it, and he found it funny, and I found it funny, and most other sane people, even if they don't agree with it, they're like anti-Trump, they probably still found it a little bit funny. They pretend to be outraged because they're trying to keep up appearances, keeping up with the Joneses, the anti-Trump Joneses, I guess. CNN's first response was, "Oh, the president is advocating violence against CNN with this." Yes, because wrestling is clearly real. Clearly, a funny image posted online is evidence that you're trying to get someone harmed or killed or something like that. Now, meanwhile, this is the same CNN that constantly apologizes for people who, I don't know, throw Molotov cocktails through shop windows, Antifa members, who punch out Trump supporters, and who try to exonerate people like Kathy Griffin for her own imagery. I guess if this is encouraging violence, wouldn't what Kathy Griffin did, wouldn't that be the same? Or Johnny Depp, or any of these other dozens of people that constantly satirize Trump? I would think it's even Stevens. And keep in mind something, this is important. CNN is a for-profit corporation. It's rather odd that people would exonerate them, or seek to, for attempting to blackmail a random internet user who may indeed, according to some tales, be a minor. He might not even be 18 years old. It looks like what happened is that they managed to get his identity. They said, "Oh, but he's apologized, so we won't release it. But this is subject to change." That could change in the future. Essentially, if this user actually speaks out and says, "Oh, screw CNN, I did nothing wrong," then they'll attempt to leak his docs. So it's called, for those of you who don't understand, that's, real identity and so forth. His address, his name, maybe his social security number. So I'm sure CNN would love to ruin his life. The idea behind this is that CNN is threatening to ruin his potential career and education in the future should he speak out against their bullying him. This user didn't bully CNN. He posted a funny meme on the internet. It happened to be retweeted by the President of the United States. Now, if CNN wants to say that Trump did something wrong, if they want to, and they did, they called that into question for several days. That's okay, that's legitimate. I may not agree with that, but it's a politician you're talking about. He's an adult, an elected official, public representative. Okay, go ahead and smear him all you want, because he's the President of the United States and it's your right to do so. You may be dishonest in why you want to do that. You don't want to tell your audience that the reason is because he didn't take your funny money and run with it, and he won't give you special interview treatment and things like that, and actually puts you in your place in order to make room for people who run like podcasts and have blogs, because that's the new media that's rising up right now, and Trump has the gift of foresight and realizes that the communication age is leaning now towards social media and away from cable. You may not be honest about your reasons for lambasting Trump, but at the very least, going after some random person on the internet, not a great idea. And then, because CNN is too dumb to understand what the Streisand effect is, all of a sudden you have 100 times more anti-CNN material. You have a trending hashtag about them blackmailing people. And you get them pissing off even some individuals who, they lean to the left a little bit. They're uncomfortable with what CNN's doing. Trump has effectively, by tweeting this video out, crushed CNN. But keep in mind, again, it's legacy media. They're dumb. They don't understand the communication age. They don't understand social media. There was a time decades ago when cable news was important because there was no instantaneous messaging between two individuals at distance unless they were calling each other on the phone. If you wanted to deliver news to people, you needed cable services or radio or something like that. You don't need that anymore. Individual users can analyze news all they want. All you need is for individuals to do journalism. You don't need a corporation for that either. People have smartphones now. People have smartphones and use drones to capture footage and so forth. You don't need these cable firms. They're vestigial. They're inefficient. CNN is disgusting for doing this. It's clearly blackmail. And then they have their, one of their people there gets trotted out working for CNN. Kaczynski, I think his name is. Andrew Kaczynski, if I remember correctly. And he gets trotted out to say, oh, we weren't blackmailing anybody. He had already apologized, and we just put it in the article. Why did you put that at the bottom of your article? Oh, yeah, we haven't released... He's apologized, so we haven't released any info on him, but that may change in the future. That sounds like blackmail to me. That sounds like a message to this individual, who, again, may be a minor. Now, I'm not sure if that's true. That's just a claim that was on 4chan. It could be true. It could be not true, but there's... it's possible. It is Reddit, after all. We've got a legacy media outlet attempting to directly bully and harass and blackmail an internet user for making this funny animated image, simply because a politician happened to tweet that image out and it was unkind towards CNN. Now, if I were the person who made it, I wouldn't have apologized. I would have made several more of them and tweeted them at Donald Trump, said, oh, you should put this one out there too, this one's even funnier. I wouldn't have apologized. I would have put that out there and I would have said, go ahead and leak my info and see what happens. Because we have crowdfunding now and I can put together a legal defense team. And CNN will lose. And it would be very, very funny if that happened. Because this is not a public figure that CNN is harassing with their story. It's a private citizen who has no legitimate legal claim to fame. Not a celebrity. So leaking their personal information as part of a general smear campaign would be a big legal no-no. That's what he should do. I guess the idea is CNN doesn't like being criticized. It's like they go after Trump or anybody else under the sun. They talk about the fake news. They coined this friggin' retarded term many moons ago. They coined the term fake news to describe their competitors that aren't on cable TV. That means internet sites and podcasts and alt media, sort of magazines or smaller newsprint and stuff. People who are actually fair and actually still do journalism and don't suck off other corporations and big banks and political establishment to millions of dollars a year to pay for their cushy studios. That's the fake news according to them. The real news is the fake news according to CNN. CNN, meanwhile, is fake news that masquerades as having journalistic integrity. How can you have journalistic integrity when you're trying to blackmail somebody? That's my big question. Then the term gets flipped around by the internet and aimed at CNN and these other legacy media outlets, which are dying off over time. The New York Times, The Atlantic, The Washington Post, The Wall Street Journal, certainly CNN, Fox, MSNBC, ABC, NBC, all these groups. They're the fake news now. And then all of a sudden they come out, all these groups with articles saying, oh, we shouldn't use the term fake news. It's too divisive. Now, it's because people realized you're the fakers. You're the ones who, you'll take a real story, something that's fundamentally real, some event that happened, but your reporting on it is so biased and so warped and so politicized, it has no truth to it. Not even a little bit. And it's really funny. The funniest part is that the same network that rambles incoherently on a daily basis about how much they're worried that fascism will take hold is now trying to sick the Gestapo on a random internet user who simply made a funny image. That's the funniest part. That's all he did. Who cares if he put more racist sort of stuff up before? He's a shitposter. He's a troll. That's his job. That's what he does. Who fucking cares? CNN starts wars and encourages people to violence on a regular basis. And then they're worried about this. They're worried about something funny posted on the internet. CNN, oh yeah, we're gonna strike this country. It'll be great. Ousting Gaddafi sounds like a wonderful time. Fuck the Syrian people. We're gonna make even more refugees by conducting drone strikes there on Assad's forces. We're gonna kill millions of people directly and indirectly. It's gonna be a great time. CNN partnered with the same wartime corporate firms. And they're worried that they're going to get a brick thrown through their studio window because of an image that Trump retweets? Yeah, I don't think so. This is dumb. It's dumb the way CNN is acting. It's ill-begotten because now they're reaping the rewards. What are the rewards? 10 times, 100 times more images against CNN. General outrage that extends well beyond the generally bipolar political sphere, ire from other media groups, including non-alt media groups. Sir Fox is going to have something to say about that. Breitbart, I know, had a write-up last night about this same issue. It's time for the internet to simply realize that it is a communication structure separate from cable and radio, and amalgamate and team up together to destroy the latter. The internet needs to realize its power and needs to realize it doesn't matter if you're left or right. We shouldn't have censorship on the internet. We should be going after cable news, first and foremost. We should be trying to denigrate their support through any means possible, because they're the ones that start wars. War was never started because of something someone posted on the internet. But it's certainly been started by the yellow journalism of the cable news media back when it had a stranglehold on information. The government loves to use it. When you have a highly centralized communication structure like cable news, where a couple of corporations can control what tens of millions of people think, it becomes a lot easier to convince them that a war is a good idea. A tax that's going to be disastrous is a good idea. That some politician that's totally crooked would be a great leader of the free world. Stuff like that. The internet doesn't make that mistake. The internet has a lot more different types of opinions, totally decentralized and capable of all being controlled by corporations and banks, or by the political establishment. CNN's full of crap. And then they come out. We weren't blackmailing anyone. Bullshit. I can look at your own tweets on the subject. It's clearly blackmail. I can look at the article itself. WikiLeaks puts out an image of it and says, oh yeah, this is basically blackmail. And indeed, if you read it, that's what it boils down to. They're saying we have this person's identity, but we're not going to release it, not because it would be unethical, not because it would be potentially illegal, but because the person apologized. But that's subject to change. That's blackmail, especially when it's a corporation doing it to a private individual. Let me ask any people here that proclaim themselves liberals. You probably disagree with me on a lot of issues, especially like immigration. Let me ask you this. If any other for-profit corporation with multinational ties went after a random internet user to try to stop them from saying or doing what they wanted to say or do, under penalty of being blackballed, essentially, so they could never work a fucking again, would you have a problem with that? I think you would. If it were a coal company doing this, you'd be rabid with rage. If it were an oil company doing this, you would be absolutely awestruck with fury. If it were anything else under the sun, you would be absolutely pissed. But because it's CNN, they get a pass? Yeah, I think fewer and fewer people think that way. I'm not going to give them a pass. I support Han Asshole Solo. Yeah. You know, the views on Hitler or whatever aside, that doesn't matter. That's not even what we're talking about. We're talking about this particular thing that Trump happened to tweet out, which is just funny. It's not like it's not Nazi. It's not more racism. It's not anything CNN is conflating it to be. We don't even, strictly speaking, know for certain that this user was responsible for actually making it in the first place. Could be dug it out somewhere else. So what's CNN's big dick in this situation for? The CNN is in no position to complain about causing violence or stupidity or anything like that. By the way, it's like when Time, I think it was a few days ago, comes out with a story. Oh, polls show that CNN is more trusted than Donald Trump. Who cares? It doesn't matter. CNN is less trusted than any of these other networks, and they're all legacy media firms. Fox News, I think, is at the top, which is really funny, or was it MSNBC, which is even funnier. CNN's down at the bottom of the heap. You got some random podcaster, they're more trusted, trust me, by their audience than CNN is. And who cares about the bandwagon crap anyway? Who says that CNN's audience just doesn't understand the world and doesn't notice the constant stream of propaganda? There was a time 10 years or so ago, or 20 years, when they would say, oh, don't watch TV, everything on it's like fake, why are you paying attention to the boob tube? Now it's, oh, everything on TV is true. Watch the cable news, kids, sit down and be a couch potato. TV's good for you. Fuck the internet. Now, at least the internet's interactive. Yeah, they can put out their own opinions, analyze things for themselves, have hopefully a civilized debate. Or you can't do that on cable news. You can't do that on TV at large. You can't even do it on demand. And on demand's bigger than cable at this point. Cable is sucking hind tin in every front. Good. They should be. Should go the way of the dinosaur. It's not even necessary to keep them around. It's like the Australopithecines of the communication world. They're Australopithecus. And like on demand and satellite radio and stuff, they've evolved to like Cro-Magnon. And then the internet, like social media era, is modern man, essentially. So yeah, CNN should be ashamed of itself. People need to hold them accountable. That's about all. Peace out.